Who's the most boring fighter stylistically in each division? That's what we're going to go over today. We're going to skip flyweight and we're going to skip the women's divisions because everything is boring in those. Just kidding, but the reason I'm skipping them is because I just don't watch enough of those and I don't know enough to narrow it down to one person. So we're skipping those. We're going to start at men's bantamweight. So this one is pretty hard to pick. This is a very entertaining division. And I look at the whole top 15 and there's not really a guy who I don't want to watch fight. And a lot of people would probably go right to Merab, which I get because we know what his style's like. But the reason I don't put him is because he's just so relentless and his cardio is so good that it almost makes it entertaining. So I'm not going to put him. Maybe a lot of people would, but I'm not going to. And just the fact that he's been winning so much and he's on this huge streak and now he's fighting for the title, it almost makes it entertaining. So I can't put him. I was thinking about Cheeto, but I thought of a guy who Cheeto fought who I would rather watch. I would not want to watch more than Cheeto. And that's Pedro Munoz, or however you say his name. Again, this division was hard to pick, so this isn't really like a solid one, but I just had to pick somebody. That's who I'm going to go with. Just based on his last couple fights, I know he's getting older, and maybe when he was younger it would have been better, but yeah, his style is kind of just dance around and not throw a lot of punches. That's what he's been doing his last few fights, and it's pretty frustrating to watch. He's pretty undersized to most guys, like he's shorter, so it's harder for him to get in, and a lot of times he just doesn't go for it, and you're just kind of yelling at the TV, like, just go, dude, like, just try something, like, just get in there, you're short. You're at a reach disadvantage, so you have to do something, but he just never really does. I'm going to go with Pedro. Again, hard to pick anyone in this division. It's really entertaining, but that's my pick. Moving on to featherweight. This one doesn't need much explanation. Aljamain Sterling, he's now a featherweight. This easily would have been my pick if he was still at bantamweight, but he moved up. And I think he's going to be even more boring now because he doesn't have the size advantage anymore, and he can't really ragdoll guys. And we saw that in the Cater fight. He just kind of hugged him, took him down up against the fence. Really, really, really boring. Yeah, he just has the least fan-friendly style ever. Wrestle, take you down with like not much urgency, lay on you, body locks, doesn't really get much finishes, a lot of decisions. Not entertaining to watch, and his personality doesn't help. This video isn't about their personalities, but it's only about their fight style, but he's also just really corny, so it doesn't help him at all. I'm glad he's not champ anymore. I mean, pretty much every win he had was a bit fluky and just not fun to watch, and it's not fun having a champion like that, so I'm glad he's out of there. And yeah, I think it's going to get even worse, like I said, at the higher weight. Not as easy for him to ragdoll guys and have that size advantage that he had at bantamweight. So yeah, I think we're in for a boring little run at featherweight for Aljo, and I'm not excited for it. Moving on to lightweight, this one was kind of hard too because the lightweight division is really entertaining as well. There's not a lot of guys who I don't want to watch there, but I'm going to go with Gamrot. He kind of has a similar wrestling style, just hug you, take you down, not a lot of engaging in the striking. I think his last 5 fights have been decisions. And yeah, his style is just kind of the classic wrestler. He's good at it, but doesn't get a lot of finishes with it, holds the guys down a lot, not very entertaining. He's one of those guys that's really skilled at his craft, but he doesn't finish, and he uses his skill to hold people down a lot and not really advance and not really get finishes and stuff like that. And that's not what I like. That's not what the fans like. So again, this one was kind of a hard pick. Gamrot's been winning a lot, so like I said with Merab, it kind of makes it more entertaining when a guy's on a big win streak, and then the next fight you're a little excited for because you're like, is he going to lose? Is he going to keep going? But yeah, I think if you were to match up this guy with another wrestler, the Islams or the Armins or whatever, it wouldn't be very fun to watch, and it's already not very fun with the strikers that he's been fighting. So Mateus Gamrot would be my pick for lightweight. Welterweight, I'm sorry I got to do it, but my boy Bilal is going to be my pick. And it sounds like I'm just one of those guys that just hates wrestling, but you'll see with my next pick that that's not really the case. But it's just like a boring type of wrestling, like I don't hate wrestling. I think takedowns and scrambling on the ground and all that is fun to watch, but just the way these guys do it is not the kind of wrestling I like. Yeah, Bilal, he just kind of has that blanket style as well. He's not a finisher. He's the decision machine. So yeah, I mean, the only thing he's really got going for him is he, again, is on a big win streak, and now he's fighting for the title, and he's fighting a guy also doesn't have a very entertaining style, Leon. He's a striker, but he sits back a lot, so I don't think we're in for a very good treat for that title fight. I am intrigued to watch it though, just to see who wins and if Bilal actually comes champion. Yeah, it's kind of just frustrating to watch Bilal sometimes because I just think to myself, like, how has he made it this far? But I do have to respect him. Like, I've gained a lot of respect for him during his win streak. I gotta stop hating on him at this point. He's been winning too much, so I gotta respect that. But yeah, he's almost like a meme, which maybe gives him a sense of entertainment. But if you're actually like sitting there watching the card and a Bilal fight comes on, it's like, it's not fun. It's not entertaining. And we'll see what happens with Leon. We'll see if his style's any different, but it's probably gonna be the same thing. Just take down, lay on the opponent, and yeah, so Bilal Muhammad for welterweight. Now for middleweight, a lot of people aren't going to like this, but based on his last fight, and pretty much my whole inspiration for this video was the UFC 302 card that just happened. And Sean Strickland is my pick because his style is so weird and so frustrating to watch sometimes. Even though he wins, it's like, what are you doing? His style is basically walk slowly towards the guy and barely throw punches and throw little teep kicks that do nothing, and be on the defensive. Block everything, put your feet up to check kicks, and then every once in a while, he'll go crazy and throw a bunch of crazy punches. And usually he has success, but he just doesn't do it like often at all. So that's my problem with him. Like, of course, we love the interviews and the trash talk and just how crazy he is. That's what makes him entertaining, and that's what's making him a star, but his fight style is not what's doing it. Even the Izzy fight, like, I know it was crazy for him to get that knockdown on Izzy and him to even beat Izzy. Like, that's what made it crazy. But the fight itself just wasn't that entertaining. Like, a good 90% of it, nothing was really happening. He was just trying to walk down Izzy, and Izzy was kind of running away, throwing a couple punches, and Strickland would block them. He has really good defense. Like, that's kind of his thing. Again, he's a perfect decision fighter. Like, he has a perfect style for decisions. And yeah, that last fight just kind of made me really realize, like, all right, is this guy really that entertaining? Like, maybe the Dricus fight was pretty good, but I think that's because of Dricus. Like, he has a crazy style. Strickland's style itself is just it's not it to watch. It's not fun to watch. It really isn't. It's interesting to watch, I'd say, because it's just so different and so weird, but it's not that fun to watch. Like a 5-round fight, main event type thing. It's like, I literally fell asleep. I fell asleep last card during that fight, and I didn't get to watch this. For heavyweight, I'm going with Waldo Cortez Acosta. As we saw in his last fight against Rebelis de Spain, very disappointing, very boring, and I feel like this might not even be his fault, but when you see a heavyweight fight, you just expect a finish automatically. You just expect like a big fat knockout. But his style, he just has that decision style as well. Just jabs and little kicks and whatever. Getting tired easily, lay on his opponent. That's what he did in his last fight, obviously. And yeah, just super boring, especially for heavyweight. Not fun to watch. So that's a pretty easy pick. There's a couple guys like that at heavyweight, but I think he is the one that has the most boring style out of them. So I'm gonna go with him. I think the main thing that makes a fight boring is when a certain fighter's losing the fight. Let's say they lost the first round, and then they're losing throughout the second round, and then they lose the second round. So what they're doing is not working, but they're not changing it. They just keep doing the same thing. That's the most frustrating thing to watch, especially if you're cheering for that certain guy. So I don't even blame guys like Strickland who use their style and it works and they win a decision. They're winning, so they can do what they want, and if no one's able to solve it, then it is what it is. But when someone's losing a fight and they don't make a big effort to make a change and try to win, that's the most frustrating thing. But yeah, let me know your opinions in the comments. I feel like I'm gonna get called a casual who just hates wrestling, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.